Hey there, Feastloom family. Diana here with my good friend Peter. You won't believe what happened when I made this birthday cake recipe. I had a room full of adults in tears. This isn't just another dessert tutorial, this is life-changing.
Hi everyone. I'm Peter, and I've been begging Diana to share this secret recipe for months. What I learned from this cake is worth more than years of baking courses, and I'm not even exaggerating.
Peter's right. Before watching, know this can change your relationship with baking forever. This is the cake that has literally brought people to tears.
And not because it's difficult. Actually, it's the opposite. Diana's going to break down what most home bakers get completely wrong.
That's right. Today we're sharing my grandmother's secret birthday cake recipe, the one that's been the cornerstone of our restaurant Feastloom's success.
So if you've ever thought about giving up on baking birthday cakes, this video is for you.
Cooking with love is the secret to any unforgettable dish, and nowhere is that more true than with a birthday cake.
Diana, let's start by addressing what makes most homemade birthday cakes so disappointing. Why do people struggle so much?
Great question, Peter. The biggest issue I see is that people approach birthday cakes with fear. They think it has to be perfect or it's ruined.
That's so true. The pressure of making something for someone's special day can be overwhelming.
Exactly. And that fear leads to the first major mistake, overcomplicating things. People choose overly ambitious recipes they've never tried before.
Been there, done that. I once attempted a 7-layer rainbow cake for my niece. Complete disaster.
Another major problem is timing. People don't realize that rushing a cake is the quickest route to disappointment.
So what's the secret, Diana? What makes your grandmother's cake recipe different?
It comes down to 3 things: quality ingredients, proper technique, and one secret ingredient that most people would never think to add.
I'm already intrigued. When Diana first served me this cake at her restaurant, I literally couldn't speak for a full minute.
The foundation of this cake isn't complexity, it's simplicity executed perfectly. Let's start with the ingredients.
And I'm guessing these aren't exotic ingredients that people can't find, right?
Not at all. Everything is available at your local grocery store. The magic is in how we combine them.
Diana, before we dive in, can you share a story about this cake? I know it has a special meaning in your family.
Of course. My grandmother created this recipe during World War II when ingredients were rationed. She had to get creative to make my grandfather's birthday special before he left for service. The cake was so memorable that he wrote about it in every letter home. He said the memory of that cake kept him going during the darkest days.
That's incredible. So this recipe is literally battle-tested.
In a way, yes. And when he returned, she made it again. It became our family tradition, then the signature dessert at our restaurant.
I've noticed that whenever you serve it at Feastloom, there's always this moment of silence at the table.
Yes. We call it the cake pause, that moment when people take the first bite and just stop. Everything else disappears.
I've experienced it myself. So what are the core ingredients we need?
You'll need butter, not margarine, real butter at room temperature. This is non-negotiable.
I notice you emphasize room temperature. Is that really that important?
Absolutely critical. According to food science research, room temperature butter traps air when beaten, creating that perfect crumb structure.
What about flour? Any specific type?
Standard all-purpose flour works perfectly, but here's the trick: you need to sift it twice. A study from the Culinary Institute found that double sifting increases cake volume by nearly 15%.
I never knew that. What about sugar?
Regular granulated sugar, but here's where my grandmother's genius comes in: you'll mix it with the butter for a full 7 minutes.
7 minutes. That seems excessive.
Trust me on this. A test kitchen analyzed this technique and found it creates microscopically smaller sugar crystals that distribute more evenly.
Fascinating. What else?
Here comes the controversial part: mayonnaise.
Wait. Mayonnaise? In a cake?
Just 2 tablespoons. It's my grandmother's secret ingredient. The emulsifiers in mayonnaise create an incredibly moist texture.
I would have never guessed. Is this something professional bakers do?
Some do. Chef Thomas Keller uses a similar technique in his bakery. It's not common knowledge, but it's game-changing.
Now I understand why you said this cake makes people emotional. It's so unexpected.
Exactly. And here's another secret: a 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract alongside the vanilla. It creates a depth of flavor most people can't identify but everyone responds to.
Diana, I have to ask, does frosting matter as much as the cake itself?
Great question. The frosting is equally important, but not for the reasons most people think.
What do you mean?
Most people focus on making the frosting super sweet, but the secret is balance. My grandmother used cream cheese, butter, and less sugar than you'd expect.
Is that why it doesn't leave that overly sweet coating in your mouth?
Precisely. And we add a pinch of salt to enhance the other flavors. Salt is the hidden hero of sweet dishes.
Speaking of heroes, I've seen you make this cake for children in hospitals through your charity program. How do they react?
Those moments are what make this recipe truly special. We had one little girl, Emma, who hadn't smiled in weeks during her treatment. When she tasted this cake, she smiled so big and said it tasted like happiness. Her mother burst into tears.
That's so moving, Diana. Food really can be healing, can't it?
Absolutely. Another time, we made this for an elderly man celebrating his 90th birthday. He said it tasted exactly like the cakes his mother made. It transported him back 80 years.
These stories are incredible. So the cake creates emotional connections through taste.
Yes. There's actual science behind this. Taste and smell are directly connected to the limbic system, the emotional center of our brain.
That explains why comfort foods are so powerful. So let's get practical. What equipment do we need?
Nothing fancy. A standard mixer, 2 9-inch cake pans, parchment paper, and a cooling rack.
That's it. No special tools.
The beauty of this recipe is its accessibility. My grandmother developed it during wartime shortages, remember?
Right. Okay, so walk us through the process. What's step 1?
First, you'll want to properly prepare your pans. Most people just spray them, but that's not enough.
What's the right way?
Butter the pans, line with parchment, then butter the parchment. This ensures nothing sticks and you get perfect layers.
Gotcha. And the batter? How do we start?
Cream the butter and sugar for those full 7 minutes we discussed. Then add eggs one at a time, fully incorporating each.
And when does the mysterious mayonnaise enter the picture?
After the eggs, along with the vanilla and almond extracts. Then you'll alternately add your sifted dry ingredients and buttermilk.
Buttermilk. Another secret ingredient.
Essential. The acidity activates the baking soda and creates that tender crumb everyone loves.
Diana, I've noticed you always tap your cake pans on the counter before baking. Is that important?
Excellent observation. That removes air bubbles that could create uneven baking. Small details make huge differences.
What about baking temperature? Does that matter?
Absolutely. Most home ovens run 25 degrees off from what they display. I recommend getting an oven thermometer for accuracy.
That's such a pro tip. And how do we know when it's done?
Insert a toothpick in the center. It should come out with a few moist crumbs, not completely clean.
Why not completely clean?
Because the cake continues baking from residual heat after removal. If you wait until the toothpick is clean, you've overbaked it.
Mind blown. What about cooling? I always get impatient.
Patience is crucial here. 10 minutes in the pan, then transfer to a cooling rack for at least 2 hours before frosting.
2 hours. That's torture.
But worth it. Frosting a warm cake is a disaster waiting to happen. Trust me on this one.
Fine, I'll be patient. Now tell us about the frosting technique.
First, make sure your cream cheese and butter are at room temperature. Then beat them together before adding powdered sugar.
And the salt.
Yes, plus a splash of vanilla and that pinch of salt. Then beat for 3 to 4 minutes until light and fluffy.
I've seen you frost cakes at your restaurant. You make it look so easy.
It's all about the crumb coat, a thin layer of frosting that seals in the crumbs. Chill for 20 minutes, then apply the final coat.
Any decorating tips for those of us who aren't professional chefs?
Keep it simple. Fresh berries make a beautiful, delicious decoration that anyone can do.
Diana, we've covered so much. Can you break down the complete recipe into an action plan for our viewers?
Absolutely. Here's your step-by-step plan. 1. Gather all ingredients and bring them to room temperature. 2. Prepare your pans properly with butter and parchment. 3. Sift your dry ingredients twice. 4. Cream butter and sugar for a full 7 minutes. 5. Add eggs one at a time. 6. Mix in mayonnaise, vanilla, and almond extract. 7. Alternate adding dry ingredients and buttermilk. 8. Pour into pans and tap to remove air bubbles. 9. Bake at the correct temperature using an oven thermometer. 10. Cool completely before frosting. 11. Apply a crumb coat, chill, then finish frosting. 12. Serve with love, and watch the magic happen.
This has been incredible, Diana. I feel like I've been let in on a family secret.
That's because you have. Good food we never forget, and this cake creates memories that last a lifetime.
Before we wrap up, any final tips for success?
Yes, don't rush, measure precisely, and most importantly, bake with intention and love. That's what makes this cake special.
Thank you for sharing this amazing recipe with all of us today.
Thank you so much for watching, Feastloom family. If this recipe brings tears to someone's eyes, tag us in your photos. Don't forget to subscribe for more life-changing recipes every week. Remember, cooking with love is the secret to any unforgettable dish.